this process apart is that we're putting the face to the payment. We're having the students record something. The donors can hear directly from them and hear their story, see the impact that their gift is making. And I think that just reinforces the emotional value of giving, the why, right? The purpose. Why is this person spending their money and time giving to your institution? And we just thought, instead of a piece of paper, how can we show them that?
Welcome to the EverTrue Innovators Podcast, where we meet the innovative voices behind the ideas moving fundraising forward.
Hey Keith, if you think pledge reminders can't be innovative, USF is here to change your mind.
And they did. They completely reimagined the process and saw a 77% open rate and a $4.7 million in payments collected. And that is no small chunk of change.
Not at all. So let's hear from the winner of the Pledge Innovator Award, the University of South Florida. Is there anything going on like top of mind right now for the spring?
We just had 2 back-to-back gift announcements. So one was largest gift ever to the university, so $40 million.
Oh my God.
To name our College of Cybersecurity, Computing Science. That was really exciting. And then the following week, we had a donor couple name our concert hall in the School of Music. So it was like back-to-back events, but it was really exciting for the university. And they went well. So we were glad about that. It's been a little crazy.
Yeah. That's amazing. A good crazy to have.
Yes, exactly.
That's incredible. Thank you for making time for this.
Yeah,
we're really excited to recognize you as innovators. The innovators are a new award program we're doing, just because we really wanted to be able to celebrate customers doing awesome work and provide an opportunity to share ideas and learn from each other. So just a little bit briefly about me. I'm Hannah. I'm on the marketing team at EverTrue. If you've seen any emails come through from Hannah at EverTrue, I'm a real person. I come from an annual giving and communications background before joining the team here. So it's near and dear to my heart, all the things that our customers are doing in the advancement space. Would love to hear a little bit about both of you before we dive into the meat of it.
I'm Carly Plate, the Director of Donor Relations and Stewardship at the University of South Florida. I've been at USF in donor relations this is my 12th year, and hired on Dominika a couple years ago. So we've been working together for a while. She's been such a great addition to the team.
And I'm Dominika McLean. I'm the Assistant Director of Donor Relations and Stewardship at USF. Super excited to be here today. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We can dive right into some of the questions. You've really rethought how you approach pledge reminders. You're rethinking the traditional way of doing things, but a lot of times pledge reminders can feel a bit transactional, like just getting a bill in the mail. So what sparked the idea to rethink this and make it more personal for your donors?
Yeah, so I think, like you said, it was very transactional for us here at USF. We looked at that with an innovative and a practical mindset and just took into consideration how we could really make that change. We were using a significant amount of resources just in mailing, in postage, in staff time. And we really just weren't seeing the ROI. It wasn't really impacting the donors the way we wanted it to. But we also didn't have a way to track if donors were opening their pledge reminders when they were getting them in the mail. So not knowing, did they even see it? So we decided to utilize ThankView. We thought, how can we make the experience just more engaging, more meaningful? Of course, ThankView, you can use those personalized videos. You can do all of those added touches that we didn't have. So it's really allowed us to connect with donors in that more personal sense. We've reduced our carbon footprint, which has been really great. And we're increasing the amount of payments made. And because of that, we have less overdue pledges for the university. So overall, it's been really rewarding to see it kind of come to fruition, and it's driving the results that we needed. Our leadership is really big on innovation, and they encourage any employee and on any team to be innovative, to think outside the box. We have what we call project innovation, where anybody can submit an idea. Dominika was one of the first to come to leadership and say, hey, we have this great idea. How can we do it? She was the one mailing the pledge reminders on my team, and it was just such an overwhelming amount of time and effort And it was a monthly process. So she was bogged down with that. I wasn't really able to tap into her other abilities because she was so focused on that one initiative for us. So we started looking at solutions, and after benchmarking and looking at other universities, other industry leaders, we just couldn't find anybody who was doing this digitally. They didn't have that digital approach. We just thought, well, we need a solution to that. And what can we do? And that's kind of just how the idea even got started and why we're here today talking about it.
Well, and now you're filling the gap. So you're going to inspire other people now too. You'll be the benchmark for people to go off of.
Yes, we loved that. And it's been really exciting.
Talking about all of that work that went into the manual process and then trying out this new process, which now seems to be working well. What did it really take to operationalize that? And you talked about pitching this idea to leadership. Was the buy-in like, yes, let's do it? Was there any hesitancy, or can you walk through how you actually got it all up and running specifically?
Yeah, turning this into an operational program was definitely a journey, but we had a clear vision. We knew what goals we wanted to achieve, what Carly already mentioned, like we wanted it to be more efficient, enhance the donor experience. We wanted to reduce the volume of our overdue pledges. So when I pitched the idea, it felt like Shark Tank. It was very nerve-wracking, I will say, but we have such a great team of executive leaders. They are very supportive of any idea that you bring to the table. So from this very start, they were very open and wanted to hear more. Basically, our process is twofold. So from the donor's perspective, we created 2 drafts of the ThankView templates. The first one being the digital pledge reminder, which they receive in their email with the nice envelope and some text personalized with their name on it. Once they click on that, they have a summary of their pledge along with the pledge details, the amount due, what fund it's going to, and there's a video that instructs them on how to make a payment, and it links to a direct pledge payment website. So once they click on that, basically the entire process takes 3 clicks for the donors to make the payment. So we wanted this to be very user-friendly, engaging, and easy for them to maneuver. That was something that was really important to us. Once the donor makes the payment, the second touch they receive is a personalized thank you from a student. We have filmed multiple students through our Grateful Bulls Day initiative once a year, where we get basically all the content that we need for stewardship purposes for that year. If there's a donor who has monthly payments, they don't see the same video twice. So that was also important to us. We love ThankView because you can track all those metrics, see the open rates, and see who actually clicked on it, what country they were in when they opened this pledge. We definitely love that. I think that ongoing trust and support from our leadership has been crucial in making this initiative successful for us.
Shark Tank for advancement would be really interesting. I would definitely love to tune into that.
I think for our leaders, it's really important to show them numbers, show them metrics. That's what guides a lot of our decisions. In general, when we do a proposal for leadership, we come with all the numbers. This is how much money we're not getting in pledges not being paid. This is the money we've spent on these resources. Here's our solution to it. And I think we've noticed when we approach things in that way and we've taken the time to find all the data, they're really open to listening to what we have to say because we're the ones doing that work. So we've been really grateful for it. And it's not as scary as it seems. You get more comfortable doing that.
That makes a ton of sense. At the end of the day, you need to be able to prove the ROI for both the time spent on it, the funds invested into it and everything, and just make sure that it seems like it'll accomplish the goals. I guess on that, talking about the numbers, the ROI behind it, you mentioned you can track all those open rates and everything. My notes are saying you got a 77% open rate, 44% click rate, which is huge, and 4.7 million collected in pledge payments since the launch. So that's incredible just to be able to have all of that information. To your point, even that click stat alone, to the point of you weren't really able to tell who was actually opening the mailed pledge form. That's huge to have that. Can we talk a little bit about donor responses? Were there any standout moments, replies with this personalized outreach? What were some of the responses and replies you received outside of just the fulfilling of the payment?
The engagement levels have definitely far exceeded our expectations. We're so happy to see those high. We actually connect with the donors like on a regular. They have always emailed us about their pledge payment questions if they have any, but there was one recently that I remember. There was a very nice gentleman who responded directly through ThankView. So that way it goes back to our inbox. And he said, "Thank you for the lovely card. I just made this payment." So I think feedback like that definitely validates for us that work that we're doing works and is successful in that way.
Even if they just have a question, we're able to look into it much quicker. Instead of calling our office or mailing a check, they write back to ThankView. It tells you you've received a response, and then one of us on our team can get back to them. And we've had people make payments of $25,000. And so the trust is there in the process. The trust is there that we're going to make sure that we're communicating in a timely manner, that their money is going to the right place. And then sending that thank you quickly after. We just want to make sure they know, yes, you paid online. It was a quick transaction. So we want to quickly acknowledge that. With our thank you rates, they are above average open rates, which has been great. And I think it just tells us that the donors and our audience really do appreciate the time we're taking to record students, to record these messages for them. We do all different things in ThankView now. The open rates and the amount of time people are spending actually watching the videos, actually reading through it, it's been really rewarding to see that, yes, they want to receive these messages. They're invested, right? They're engaged. Seeing that through the pledge reminders has been really great too. We have almost 200 people opted into digital reminders now, 200 donors. It's been growing significantly. So it's been exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of leads into my next question about strengthening relationships with donors and how it's contributing to the broader mission of the organization too. It seems like you're engaging students, you're engaging donors, you're reducing your carbon footprint, you're meeting people where they are. Can you just talk a little bit about that and how you see this fitting into the broader strategy, scope, mission?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this whole process has definitely been transformative for USF. We have done the pledge reminder process the same way for a long time. In today's world, people are making all kinds of payments online, school tuition, bills, and subscriptions. Almost everything is accessible online. So I think making the pledge payment part of that world just kind of made sense. It's seamless. It at least allows the opportunity for people who are more digital to do that. I think what sets this process apart is that we're putting the face to the payment. We're having the students record something. The donors can hear directly from them and hear their story, see the impact that their gift is making. And I think that just reinforces the emotional value of giving, the why, right? The purpose. Why is this person spending their money and time giving to your institution? And we just thought, instead of a piece of paper, how can we show them that we have really great students here? We have a digital engagement center. We went over there and told the students what a pledge is. They didn't know what it was. So we were able to explain that and talk about philanthropy to them. And they had a lot of questions and they were really great. And then we just took some time to get their stories and get them to say a few sentences for us. It was really nice. It was a full circle moment of us actually talking about philanthropy in general with our bulls who are here on campus. And again, being more sustainable, using less paper products. We're moving away from paper-based communications, the mailed invitations. We still do it here and there, but I think you're just meeting people where they're at, being more efficient for us, but being more sustainable. It is one of our institution's goals. So it all kind of aligned for us and seems to be working.
The point that you mentioned about educating the students about philanthropy, I know that's a really big topic for every institution, making sure that students understand the power of philanthropy so that when they can give back, hopefully they'll be more inclined to, or just understanding what these gifts empower on campus or in their day-to-day lives. So that's an added benefit to this process of getting them involved. Can you talk a little bit more about this process for recording the videos with the students? I know that Dominika, you had mentioned that you get all of the videos in one sitting, one event, and then you have that for the year. That blows my mind because that's amazing for how that all works.
we actually first go to the Digital Engagement Center, and we have students who basically they're already familiar with calling donors and asking for gifts. So they're our first option to film for any type of purpose that we need. So for this one is thank you videos for making the pledge payment. And then if we're missing content, we always have this annual event, which is called Grateful Bulls Day. That always happens in January on all of our campuses. That is the day we teach students about philanthropy. We have pizza, we have giveaways, we have music. We try to make it super fun for them. We have them fill out thank you cards for our first donor program. And then we also film other pledge payment videos, birthday videos, any type of stewardship video. I mean, it's just like a whole.
It's always fun.
It's like Hollywood.
Yeah. And I think, yes. And just one big part of that event, again, is just teaching them about philanthropy, even if you're not receiving a scholarship, if you're not directly affected, but donors are giving to the research that you're able to participate in, the buildings that are on campus. So I think it's just teaching them about that. They have a lot of questions. Sometimes they don't know what is a donor. Sometimes they're like, what does that mean exactly? That day is really helpful for us. And it's just super fun. The students get really into it. And we've had some great feedback, great stories from them.
It's growing every year.
Yeah, it gets bigger and bigger. It's always really fun. And it helps us get some of that content that we need throughout the year. So we're not having our marketing and communications team refilm something every time we have an idea. We brainstorm throughout the year and we try and get as much done that day that we can.
That's music to my ears, honestly, because having been in a similar position at times, it is the gathering of the content. It takes a lot of time and effort, and being able to consolidate as much as possible so that you just have it to pull from throughout the year. I love that concept in general. I think that's really neat. And student philanthropy and education of philanthropy is always going to be a topic. Folks are trying to figure out the right way to approach it, and how do you actually get through to them and make them feel like they are a part of everything that's going on. The theme of sharing ideas and being a resource for others. If someone at another institution is tuning into this conversation and saying, I want to try this, what would be your advice for them? What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned as you've gone through this process?
Yeah, I think our advice would be to approach something like this with creativity, but also practicality. At the same time, not be afraid to take those risks. Start by focusing on the donor experience. Put yourself in their shoes. Think about how you can make the interaction more personal, more engaging, and more meaningful. Ask yourself, what would I want to see? We give to other institutions and we all have our philanthropic priorities. So what do you like to see? How do you like to be communicated with? For us, it's been helpful because it's freed up a lot of Dominika's time. And then it's also allowing us to provide an opportunity for donors to make those payments quicker, which allows us to have less overdue pledges overall, which is money that we're losing. For us, it was 24% reduced overdue pledges since 2022. So it's been really big. And we always love to share those metrics with our leadership team. We send monthly updates to them, just letting them know how many pledge reminders were sent, how many were opened, and then how many pledges were paid. And so those three numbers really help. And I would say, let the data drive your decisions. Once you launch something, continue measuring that early on so you can see what are the key indicators that this is working, or where you need to shift your efforts a little bit to make it more beneficial. And then I just think being prepared for the time commitment. This was definitely a labor of love, but the work that you put into it in the long run, the benefits are worth the effort and the time. And especially since you can increase your donor satisfaction, your engagement overall, that's been great for us. And just take a shot, take risks, go to your leadership with an idea. Don't be afraid.
Dominika, any thoughts in addition?
I mean, I think all the efforts that we do, we try to make things more efficient. We want to work smarter, not harder. And seeing how much time this old process was taking me specifically, I was like, no, we gotta find a better solution to this and maximize on the tools that we already have.
ThankView.
Yeah, so it worked honestly so perfectly to to personalize that experience for the donor so it doesn't feel transactional at all. They can do it from their iPhone, on the road, wherever they are. It's accessible everywhere, meeting the donors where they are. We have to do things more digitally. So
yeah, and we do have a number of donors who have not opted in that they do want to receive that hard copy pledge reminder. So we worked with our IT team to create a QR code. Now on the hard copy pledge reminder, we also have a QR code that links them to the digital pledge payment website. They still have the option to pay online, even if they want to receive that in the mail. And it looks a little bit nicer. It doesn't feel as bill collector, gives them that ease of still paying online, even if they want to receive it in the mail. Through that, we can also track the open rates of the payment website, who spends time on it, who actually clicks through to make a payment. So I think just thinking digitally in general is beneficial in so many different areas of what we do, that it's been helpful to think outside the box and at least try something.
I know this has been brought up several times, but meeting donors where they are. So if they prefer to receive a piece of mail, even if they still don't prefer to then mail that back, it makes it easier to use the QR code to go online and do it that way.
Yeah.
Or if they prefer everything digital, you have that option too. And that is only going to help those relationships because they're going to feel like they know how I want to be communicated with, and they're making an effort to do that. That'll pay off.
Great. That was our goal. I think when we submitted, actually, we were at 175 donors had signed up, and now when we're recording, we're at 200. So,
amazing.
It's growing every day, and it's exciting to see that it's just actually working.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's a short time period to have that growth in. So that is huge.
We encourage all of our development officers to recommend the email form of reminders. It makes our work easier and it makes their work easier. So I think it keeps everybody happy.
So that Dominika's point, we had a section added to our gift agreements in our institutions under their pledge payment schedule. It says, opt in here, click here to sign up for digital pledge reminders. They check off the box and put their email address in. We've gotten our development officers fully aware of this process and have told them to encourage them when they're signing the gift agreement together to make sure, hey, you can opt in for this. We've brought so many different areas into the process. Our team who writes the gift agreements had to change the language and add that. Collaboration is so important with your teams and saying, hey, here's what we want to work on, but I need you to add this to this form or make it more seamless for the donor. And so we really tapped into our colleagues here and just making it overall work, getting everybody on the same page and making sure everyone's on board with the new ideas. It helps to then communicate that to your donor base and get the word out that it's even an option.
This is like a winning thing through and through. You're checking off all the boxes. Donors are happy, teammates are happy, you're happy, everyone's happy.
Yes, that is true.
That's awesome. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you feel is really important to cover, or things that are on the horizon that you're thinking about?
We've thought a lot about going completely digital. Our goal is to have everybody be on a digital track. And if there was those outliers that did want to still receive it in hard copy, that would be doable. But just to move everybody who has an open pledge there would be great. That's one of the things, we'll get there. But, seeing it grow, seeing it working, providing the ROI, it's helping our cause. And our institution is looking at moving all of our gift receipts to digital also. So right now they're all mailed. If you make a gift online, you'll receive an online receipt, but regardless, you're receiving it in the mail also. We're all moving to that digital era. So how can we be more aligned with what our institution's doing? If other areas are sending this electronically, why are we still doing it this way? Yeah, we're looking towards many different digital options in the future, but we always love thinking of ThankView. It's something we share with our colleagues constantly. We've used ThankView in so many different ways for prospects, one-to-one communications, event follow-ups. So many different areas have used it in a really creative way. And I think that's been really fulfilling and exciting for us to see. Our team manages ThankView, but we get to kind of help other areas build whatever they're looking to do. And to see our open rates be high and to see our click rates be high, it's really great because it's working. And I love when we get responses, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
We love the video. How great. Right. Just an added touch that we didn't have before. So it's really nice to have. It's a great tool.
Like, how can you be upset when you see a friendly face pop in your inbox is what I always think about.
Right.
That has to make your day. You know,
Yeah,
it's neutral or happy.
absolutely. Right.
So that's awesome to hear that other teams are also using it. That's just becoming part of the strategy for the organization overall to just
Absolutely.
make that more personalized. Have those friendly faces in the inboxes.
Yes, it's nice. It is
Yeah.
really nice to see. It's such a great platform. So we love ThankView.
Thank you again for doing this work, for figuring this out, for being the trailblazers in this space for others to benchmark off of. One of my favorite things about the advancement industry is that everyone's just there to help each other. That was something that I loved when I was in it, and now I love that I'm able to help make connections on this side of it. You're not competing with each other, but you're just able to be a resource and learn. And I love that so much. So, yeah.
We do too. It's been great. We reach out to our peers and have those conversations, and we've had people ask us about different things we're working on. It's just really nice to have those conversations with a university that's completely across the country, but facing the same challenges that we are.
Yep.
And you don't feel so alone. We're all in this donor relations community together, and we're all trying to do better and be innovative. It's so nice to have colleagues across the world.